Hi, you guys. Welcome back to TikaTime. Okay, today we're going to talk about why you're not succeeding at school. There's 3 reasons why you think you might not be succeeding at school. All right. Number 1 is you're lazy, or your parents think you're lazy. One of those. Number 2, you might think it's because you don't understand the content of what they're teaching you. And number 3, you might think, or your parents might think, you don't care. You just don't care about it, so you're not going to do it. None of those reasons are the most important to why you're not succeeding in school. So what is it, Tika? What is it? The number 1 reason that you're not succeeding, not only in school, but maybe it's your athletics, maybe it's your career, maybe it's, just your life in general. That's sad, but I got you. I'm here for you. Is because you don't set goals for yourself to accomplish. If you do not set a goal, you will not be accomplishing anything. So let's talk about number 1. Your parents think you're lazy. Okay, well, why? Well, you're lazy because most probably you don't understand what, you have to do. And so you don't want to feel insecure about, oh, I don't really get all that stuff. And I'd just rather just continue laying on the couch or continue, watching TikaTime. Just not wanting to do anything because you just know that it's going to be so much effort to figure it out. If you knew it, then you would do it. Let's go to number 2. I know it sounds like laziness is the key, but it's not. Listen, number 2, you don't understand the content. So now we just talked about how you think you're lazy, or your parents think you're lazy because you're just laying around. But the reason you're laying around could be because you just don't understand what you're supposed to do in the assignment or whatever. Yes, I got you for content. I got you. That's what I do for a living. I am your IQ coach too at carpedieacademics.com. However, I am telling you that is not the main reason. Okay, but the content thing, my friends, is not the first thing that you need to be worried about. Number 3, you or your parents might think you just don't care. And you're like, I don't care about school. I'm too cool to care about school. Or your parents are like, you don't care enough about school, blah, blah, blah. So the not caring about school is not really accurate. I think we all care about our performance. So, school is a big part of our performance. Actually, children, teens, adolescents, and young adults through college, they do actually feel really bad about themselves if they do bad in school. It's like your job, right? So when you grow up, you guys, and once you're done with school, you're going to have a job. And this is another thing that's going to be judging your output. I don't think that you don't care. And I know, a lot of parents out there, you might feel like your child doesn't care, but that's not the reason. Okay. Now I already told you what the reason is. The reason is that we need to help you guys make solid and actionable goals. So let me expand on that. Number 1, you need to get a planner. I'm not even going to entertain anything you might say that goes against getting a planner. Like, oh, I can memorize all that in my head. 2 weeks out, do you know what your grades were last week? Because you should be writing them down in your planner. So you know what you did this week will help you understand how much impact it had on your grades. And then you can understand how tests are impacting, how homework is impacting. And you will not be able to do this unless you have last week's grades. Yes, you have whatever grading platform you have. And of course they update, with all the different grades, but you don't have last week's grades anymore. You just can't understand where you came from last week. So that's what I'm saying. You have to have a planner and you need to write down your weekly grades. So what I do in my academic management sessions with my students is I make you every Saturday or on Saturday, whenever your appointment is through the week, I just put on Saturdays your grades. So if it's a Monday, go to Saturday in your planner and just write down all your grades so far, or do it, on the last week or something. You just need a record. Number 2, with the goal making, that's number 1, get a planner. Number 2, you have to actually be 2 weeks out. So not only this week, but next week has to, like, all the subjects you have should be written in there, and go to each classroom and go to, your WAG and write down everything that you have for the next week, this week and next week. Once you do that, you can have like a future glance and understand, okay, what kind of load do I have next week? And what am I doing this weekend that could affect my studying for the next week? Now, after you've organized that, number 3, you have to make the goals. Now, for the goals, you actually have to look at each class separately. So write down each class, like whatever today's date is, get the planner. All right. I'll link one below. I have an Amazon shop that I just have a bunch of really great things for you guys. You'll find a planner in there. It's really inexpensive, and I like the way it's laid out, so you don't have to think. Whatever the day is today, all right, start there, and you are going to write down every class from like first period to last period, and you're going to write down a goal for that class. For example, if you're like at a 78% and you have not been really doing homework, and at a 78%, you guys, you have like a huge opportunity to raise your grade. So let's say you're in math at 78%, you have a very high chance of raising that grade. If you're at a 78, you're going to write down 78, and then you're going to have one goal. And that is to, like, this week, I'm just going to focus on all the homework. Then you could do that with every single class. And then next week, let's say you have a test next Wednesday and you have that written down. Then you're going to, over the week, kind of look at what your schedule looks like over the weekend. So, like if you've got a competition or a game. I have a student that's on the baseball team right now, and I know those games like go all day on the weekend and probably another couple days during the week. Oh my gosh, you guys have so much to balance. I get it. I get you. It's very difficult. One way is by writing that down, your weekend, like what you're going to do on the weekend. Now you can see, okay, well, I have this test next Wednesday, which means I'm going to have to study like Sunday. And remember, please don't study for a test like the night before. Oh my gosh. This is stressing me out. You guys, it's stressing me out. You have to study for a test at least 2 days in advance. That means if you have a test on Wednesday, you're going to study Monday night. You better know what you're doing Monday night. You got it? Because then on Tuesday, if there's something you don't understand, you can still have time to go ask your teacher. I know, this is mind-blowing information. Isn't it amazing? The goals thing is the most important thing, though, because if you do not have a goal, you don't have motivation, so you're going to be lazy, and your parents are going to think you don't care, and then, they're going to be really on top of you about what you're doing with your life. So if you want to keep the peace, you got to make your goals. Now, the content, once you make the goal, now you can go to your teacher and ask about content. So if you're like, I want to get an A on the next test, then you can go to your teacher and say, okay, Mrs. Johnson, I really want to get an A on the next test. You can email this. Email your teachers. They love it. They will love you for it because they know that you're trying. So you can say, hey, Miss Johnson, I'm just planning ahead for the next test, and my goal is to do, whatever, XYZ, ABC, whatever it is on the next test. And, if you have any extra review sheets, or if I could, come earlier tomorrow or this week, or stay later after class, or come during my study hall or lunch, whatever it is, you can let them know that you are going to take an action to achieve a goal that you have made. So now, If there was no goal in the first place, there would be no action. You would not care to email your teacher. You would not care to pursue any tutoring if you needed it. You would not care to move from the couch and using your electronics, which I'm always yelling at you for anyway. 1 hour a day. That's it. That's all you get. That's what I got for you. All right. So go out into the world and make it a better place by making goals for yourself. Until next time, I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.